What's going on, everyone? Welcome to Movie Emporium's TV review of the Apple TV Plus original series, Dark Matter. This will follow episode 5, which is once again directed by Celine and Logan George. So this week's episode was what I consider an interesting one. I don't think it was the most successful episode, but I don't think that's a bad thing. I think this is an episode that needs to be in there to kind of allow the series to be 9 episodes or whatever it needs to be. The reason I say that is because it's a lot more of Jason 1 and Amanda 1, I think it is, basically continuing their quest to find a way to get Jason 1 home. And there's a lot of interesting things that happen in this which show kind of the dichotomy of what a multiverse can continue or what can contain. And I find that really interesting, to be fairly honest, because this series takes multiverses and does a realistic approach to it while being fantastical and sci-fi in its own nature. You see the individuals, Amanda and Jason 1, go into a water world, I guess you could say, where it's flooded. It almost floods the cube, almost kills them. Really kind of an awesome way, similar to like the snow world and like the sand world and stuff like that. There's a lot of that, and I'm assuming there's a lot of different multiverses that are similar to that. And on top of that, they go into another world that, after they clean themselves up and dry themselves off, they've gone into another world where there's a pandemic happening, which is very realistic in its approach, in the situation of like people get sick by touching each other bodily fluids, and it very much is a play or a kind of symbolization of what we went through in the 2020 with the pandemic. For instance, he goes and they're really kind of weirded out, or at least Amanda's weirded out by how quiet it is. She sees a cat in the window, and they finally get to Jason 1's house. And Daniela has basically told him, while freaking out, has basically told him that Jason has died, so therefore it's not his world. That kind of stuff, it's a really dark moment, because the people who are, I want to say the ones putting everybody in quarantine, says that, since you've touched her, Daniela, we'll say, pandemic Daniela, you have to give her all this morphine to kill her, basically. And it's really a sad, unsettling moment to watch Jason 1 have to basically kill a version of Daniela. And you don't see it happen, but you see in the eyes of Daniela, the Jennifer Connelly character, who absolutely is riveting in this episode, especially in this moment. It's like an Emmy nomination performance, to be fairly honest. If it were me, that's what I would go with. But you see it in Jason 1's eyes, and you see it in his expression. And even Amanda is like, look, these things are unfortunately the things that happen. Different worlds are different worlds. You have to move past it. You have to realize that this isn't your world, that is another person's world. And it's an interesting kind of conversation that she has, because she has to put Jason 1 in his place to make him realize that he needs to focus, and therefore they do just that. So they focus and they go into another world, which ends up being basically a version of his world, with slight differences, of course. And the major differences that Jason 1, after he goes into his house with the knife, realizes that he's gone to jail for unknown reasons. It's not explained, but it's enough to really affect his son, who's the Fegley character, and Daniela herself, to the point where they call the cops. And it's just, there is something that happened, whether it be something truly horrific to them or truly horrific to something he did. And it's stuff like that that really makes an episode powerful. And once again, it's not like, it's the greatest episode ever. It's a very interesting one to continue the story of this box and what it entails. And as you come to the conclusion, the emotions and the ideas of the person are what truly affects this box. This box is, a portal into someone's mind. So therefore you have to focus your attention to what you need, which is what Jason 2 was able to do, because he's able to go to, back to his world to pick up the chemicals that they're using to basically put themselves down to sleep, so they can transport between this box and this corridor. And it's a really fascinating thing to see, or a really fascinating thing to talk about, because watching the corridor be something of a metaphysical or a humanistic kind of device is what makes it really an interesting approach to what exactly is happening. What is this box entailing? So it's almost like it's a device that's connected to your brain. That's why they use all the chemicals to shoot up them to put themselves to sleep. They go back in the corridor. It's an interesting thing that starts to slowly reveal itself as people kind of you start to understand what's going on. And one of the most interesting things is Blair, who is a friend of Daniela and Jason One's world, has disappeared, and they go into discussions about Blair and a couple other people who went into this box and disappeared, never came back. And of course they travel into this world that's straight out of like a Michael Crichton or Stephen King horror novel, where basically these gigantic like bees or wasps have basically eradicated the population, and Amanda One's Blair is in this world. And to watch the level of sadness, to watch the level of just like how much Blair's mind has deteriorated, and how she talks, and how she refuses to go back, and she's confined to this world, but she wants to get out, but she's stuck here. It's a really kind of sad moment, because Amanda's like, come with us, you will go back to your world or our world, and Blair refuses to do it, which shows you that her mental state is just, it's gone. It is what it is. She's trapped in her own personal hell at this point. And that moment when Amanda like tries to touch Blair to just signify that she cares about her, and and then watch Blair kind of retract back and like a scared dog, being beaten or something like that, it really is an interesting thing to watch, because Blair talks about the idea, and she gives this journal to, of course, Amanda's character, and the psychosis and psychology of an individual who goes through some real painful, traumatic events is really on full display here. And I thought it was pretty impressive what the character of Blair is doing, the actress, because it takes a lot of effort, it takes a lot of poise to do something like this, and it's a really powerful thing to watch. So I give it a lot of credit there. So that's kind of where Amanda and Jason One are at. They're starting to slowly piece together how they can control this box, but it's not without Jason 2, who comes to the realization after he's been showing Leighton from Jason One's world how this box works. They go on test runs, they go to different types of places. There's this like really colorful palette of like an Art Deco looking place, really cool kind of aesthetic, and they go to a couple other places. But basically, Leighton is offering Jason 2 millions of dollars per vial of this chemical that they use to allow themselves to transport. And it's fascinating. It really is. It really is an interesting thing to watch, because what ends up happening is once Jason 2 kind of reconciles with Daniela 1 in this world, she confronts him and says, you did all this stuff without me, and it's just like, you're betraying me. He's like, I apologize. And then he tells her about Leighton and how much they're offering, millions of dollars, which is kind of, you see Daniela's face is kind of like, oh, millions of dollars. It's one of those things. And, it's really disturbing to what Jason 2 is doing, but you understand why he's doing it. It's just, he's finding a way to manipulate the system, and he's doing it really, really well. But in the process of everything, when he's able to control himself enough to go back to his own world to collect those bags of vials, and he learns about Jason 2 and Amanda going into the box, as well as Leighton going into Leighton 2 or Leighton 1 or whatever you want to call him, going into the box, which gives a look to Jason 2's character. And when he travels back to Jason 1's world, Leighton goes, why'd you go without me? He's like, well, I need to pick these bags. There's 50 vials, $50 million. And he says, here you are, you pay me, you get to go into the box, fun, do whatever you want. What he decides he's going to seal off the box, because he knows Jason 1 and Amanda are looking for him, and they're going to be close to looking for him and finding him. So therefore, Jason 2 is not only scared, but he is going to do the evil, thing of like blocking Jason 1 and Amanda from getting back into this world. So once again, like, we know that there's going to be a resolution or something to keep that from happening. Like, Jason 1 and Amanda are going to find themselves in his world eventually. But just the idea of Jason 2 going, I'm going to have to seal this up. You're going to be there forever. You're never going to be able to come back. And that's an interesting proposition. To be fairly honest. So I'm intrigued. I'm really interested to see how far Jason 2 will be able to go with this, whether Jason 2 dies. We'll see what happens. But I really did enjoy this episode. Once again, it's not the greatest episode in the world. Once again, it does have issues when it comes to you kind of just need to start getting to the final point with what are we got, episode 5, 4 episodes. I mean, I guess you can give a little bit of fluff, but if we're getting like to episode 7 or 8 and we're still in the corridor and there's not really much push, that's gonna be a problem. So it's not a huge problem at this moment, but it will become a problem if they continue this route of just universe hopping, and you just kind of need to get to a point at some point. So I'm still giving it the benefit of the doubt. This is episode 5. We still got 4 more episodes. So yeah, I mean, other than that, that's kind of where I lie. So in the end, a pretty competent episode, 8.5 out of 10 for my score for this episode. I think it's good. It has some interesting moments. Could be better, but you know what? It's still an enjoyable episode of Dark Matter. So there you go. With that said, that'll do it. That'll be my take on Dark Matter episode 5, which is called Wordless. Now on Apple TV Plus. All right, thank you so much for watching. Comments below. What did you think of the episode? Did you like it? Do you still have questions? What is your interesting takes on it? You've given a few people have given me some interesting comments. I'm always interested to read what you guys think. So otherwise, there you go. If you like what you see on this video, awesome. Hit the subscribe button to join Movie Emporium. Hit that notification bell at top to find what's coming next. If you like this video, awesome. Hit that like button. And as always, we'll see you guys on the next video. Peace out.